yesterday we talked about classifying angles. We learned how to name angles using 3 letters. When you have those 3 letters, when you're naming angles, what part of the angle what letter goes in the middle? The vertex, yeah. So we had an angle, and maybe it has 3 points on it called A, B, and C. And if we wanted to name this angle, what letter is the vertex? B is the vertex. So if we're naming the angle, we would have to name it ABC. Or we could name it what? CBA, yes. So as long as the vertex is in the middle, then that will do just fine. So today you guys have adults math, and these are the 2 ways that they want those angles named, okay? So keep that in mind. Today we're learning some more vocabulary. Today we're talking about angle pairs. A pair is 2, a couple of angles. And, excuse me, there are some special angles that have special meanings for us in geometry. And we're going to use those special relationships to set up and solve problems using angles. So here we have vertical angles is the first angle pair we're going to talk about. And we have here 2 lines that are intersecting. And you'll notice these 2 lines that are intersecting, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different angles that we create when we have those 2 intersecting lines. All right, you see the 4 angles, right? Yeah, okay. So here we have this little angle, number 1. We got number 2. So vertical angles are 2 angles that are across of each other. I don't understand what that means, but when 2 lines intersect, these angles are congruent, which is a weird way to say that. Congruent means we have a special symbol for congruent. It looks like it's an equal sign, but it has a little tilde on top, all right? And congruent, just like the symbol has an equal sign, congruent means that they're like equal, all right? It's got a built-in equal sign, but congruent goes a step further. They're not just equal. It's talking about the shape of it is equal, so we use congruence when we're talking about shapes. It's just a little bit more than just equal. We use an equal sign when we have equations, but when we have shapes that are the same, when we have shapes that are identical, we use a congruence. The word is congruent, but it means that they're equal. And so in this picture, what we create here are we can create little angles that turn out to be congruent or equal. And they're angles that are sort of, well, they're vertical. Look we get this little V and another little V here. Angle 2 and angle 4 are always going to be the same measure. So angle 2 and angle 4 are called vertical angles, all right? We can write angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. So if angle 2 is, say, 160 degrees, what's the measure of angle 4? It's also 160 degrees. Awesome. Is there another pair of vertical angles? Yeah, 1 and 3 are also going to be vertical angles. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. I'm going to use a little double arc mark. So these are called arc marks, and in geometry, those little arc marks tell us that things are the same. All right, they are equal. So if angle 1 is 20 degrees, what's angle 3? Also 20 degrees. So these are angles that are across from one another when you sort of have that intersection of 2 lines, okay? All right. Adjacent angles. Here we have an example of adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are 2 angles that share a common vertex and a common side. They are next to. Adjacent means next to. So what we have here is we have angle 5 and angle 6. They both have this common vertex B, and they have this common side, this side between them, right here, that they're both sharing, all right? So these are, well, next door neighbors, all right? That's what adjacent means. So this is adjacent angles. They just are next to each other, all right? When we have adjacent angles, we can write little equations where we say, hey, if I know the measure of angle number 6 here, let's see, I'm going to write this down. The measure of angle 6 plus the measure of angle 5, if I take my angle number 6 and I add in my angle number 5, that's going to give me the whole big angle. Does that make sense to you? All right. That equals the measure of angle ABC. So let's see. This is called little piece plus little piece equals whole. If the measure of angle 6 is 20 degrees and the measure of angle 5 is 110 degrees, what's the measure of angle ABC? The whole big angle. Yeah, the measure of angle ABC would be 130 degrees, okay? So we can take adjacent angles and add them together and get the whole big angle. Is that pretty easy? Does that make sense to you? Okay, pretty easy. We can add them up and get the whole thing. All right. What do you think complementary angles means? This picture has something very special in it. What do you see in this picture? A right angle, yes. And that's what complementary means. Complementary angles are two angles in which the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. So these are two angles, angle 7 and angle 8 here, come together and make a right angle. And because they make a right angle, they're going to add to 90 degrees. So you might want to write that in. They add to equal 90 degrees. So these are two angles that we can add up, and they're going to equal 90 degrees because they're complementary. So anytime you see that word complementary, complementary means they're going to be 90 degrees. Okay? So this one, the measure of angle 7 plus the measure of angle 8 is going to equal 90 degrees. So let me ask you a question. If angle 7 is 20 degrees, what must angle 8 be? 70. How'd you figure that out? It's pretty easy, right? Because we know the whole thing must be 90. 20 plus 70 gets me the 90. Okay? So that's pretty good. All right, so complementary means they're going to equal 90 degrees. And supplementary angles, yeah, this is a, oh, got a ghost. Yes, so this picture, we have a straight angle, angle 9 and angle 10 in this picture are supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are any two angles in which the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. So here we have our straight angle, and we talked about that yesterday. That straight angle must be 180. So now we have two angles that are going to add up and equal 180. So it's pretty easy. The measure of angle 9 plus the measure of angle 10 is going to have to equal 180 degrees. And so once again, supplementary adds to equal 180 degrees. So anytime you see that word supplementary, it means we got 180. What does complementary mean? 90. What supplementary mean? 180. So vocabulary words that really make a big difference here. If the measure of angle 9 is 30 degrees, what must angle 10 be? 150, yes, because these add to be 180 degrees. So 180 minus 30 is 150 degrees, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, now, not only are angle 9 and angle 10 supplementary angles, they're also adjacent angles because they're next to each other. They share a common side. You good with that? It can be more than one thing. So let's look here. We want to classify each pair of angles using all the names that apply. And so to classify these angles, we're looking for, are they vertical angles? Are they adjacent angles? Are they complementary? MENTARY. All right. And are they supplementary? All right, and they can be more than one. So we want to know what angles are these. So angle 1 and 2 in this picture, number 1, what are they? Complementary. How do we know they're complementary? They form that nice little right angle right there. What else are they? Adjacent, yeah. They share that common side. They're right next to each other, so they are also adjacent. What about number 2? What are they? Adjacent. Yeah, they just share this common side, so they are adjacent. They didn't make a full straight line, so they're not supplementary. What about number 3 here? Angle 1 and angle 2. What are those two angles? Ooh, are they vertical? What about here on number 4? What are those? Those are vertical. They're sort of on opposite sides of that sort of X. They're across from each other, so those are vertical. Are these vertical? No, they're not. Yeah, they're adjacent, so just like the other, they share a common side here, so they are adjacent. They are supplementary. Very good. Angle 1 and angle 2 fall on this straight line. That straight angle, God bless you. And because they both lay on that straight line, that is a supplementary angle because they fall on that straight line. So supplementary, God bless you. All right, I'm trying to color code here. All right, so we said over here on number 4, what kind of angles are 1 and 2? Vertical angles, yes. They are across from each other with intersecting lines. What about number 5 and 6? What about number 5 here? So, well, the angles themselves, this one is definitely obtuse and this one is acute, but we want to talk about the angle pair. Are they one of these things? Are they adjacent? No, they're floaters, so they're not adjacent. What did you say? Supplementary, yeah. They add to be 116 plus 64. What does that equal? 180 degrees. And if they add up to be 180 degrees, they are supplementary. Very good. What about number 6? What kind of angles are those? Complementary, yeah. 23 degrees plus 67 degrees is 90 degrees. And if they add to be 90 degrees, that means that they're complementary. Comes up in math all the time, doesn't it? It's just funny. All right. Questions so far? God bless you. She's sneezing. She sneezed like 6 times. Poor girl. She just sneezed like 6 times. All right. See ya. Thank you. Happy birthday, y'all. Congratulations. Happy early birthday. All right. Let's see. I want to come down here, actually, to finding angle measures. We want to find each missing angle measure. Number 13 there. What do you think X is? Yeah, it's also 107 degrees. Why? What kind of angles are they? Vertical, yeah, vertical angles. Vertical angles, they are across from one another in those intersecting lines there. All right, what about number 14? How do we figure out what X is? 19. How'd you get 19? It should add to be 90 degrees. Good, we have that right angle there. You could do 90 minus 71 if you wanted to get 19 degrees, or maybe you think 71 plus 19 gives me 90. So you knew that it was going to add up to 19. Good job. So X is 19. What about number 15 here? So how'd you get 38? It adds to 180, sure. X plus 142 should add to equal 180 degrees because they are on that straight line. So you can add them together and they should equal 180. Of course, if we subtract the 142, we would get X equals 38. So this is, today is kind of an interesting day. You're going to find some pretty easy stuff. And maybe you're super awesome with your addition skills and you can just get there quickly. But maybe you need to write an equation and solve an equation. So you can do it either way. All right? Let's look at number 16. What do you think, Ethan?
Y is 54, so X is 126.
So we knew that 54 and the Y match because they're vertical angles. So how did you get X then?
180.
Oh, 180 because they're on this straight line. So I can see that X and Y are falling on that straight line. That's 180 degrees, and I already know 54. So 180 minus 54 gives you 126. Good job. So that's one. Wowza, very good. And if X is 126, what's the Z? Also 126, because those are vertical angles, all right? So here we have the X and the Z are also vertical angles. What'd you say? Anytime they land on a nice little straight line, they would add to be 180 degrees. Okay? So even these here, 54 and 126, they fall on a straight line right there. So those are going to add to be 180 degrees. And here we have this line here. So 126 and 54 also is going to be 180. So anytime you see that straight line, it will add up to be 180 degrees. Okay. Number 17. It says angle RST. RST is this whole big angle. I'm highlighting the sides there for you. And the whole thing is 112 degrees. How are we going to figure out what X is? Yeah, very good. The whole thing is 112, and we also know that this is 87 of it, and we just need to find that little leftover bit. So all we have to do is subtract. 112 minus 87 equals 25 degrees. So this is 25 degrees. X is 25 degrees. Good job. Do you find this easy? Yeah? Okay, good. What about 18? How'd you get 111? All right, very good. All three of these should add to be 180 degrees. This is called a linear triple. They all three add up to be 180. So we could write an equation 51 plus the x plus the 18 should equal 180 degrees. And you can solve from there if you want to, or just do 180 minus 18 minus 51, and it gives you the 111. Lots of ways to get there. All right? Pretty nice. All right, let's look at number 19, and then I think we're probably pretty good here. So look here. I'm going to draw this, highlight this line right here. Big straight line, nice straight angle there. What do we know? What can you figure out? Okay, so that blue line is 180. How does that help me? Okay, so we can figure out why we can do, because we have this whole big line, straight angle there, we can do 180 minus the 127, and that's going to give me 53. And that's the y value of 53. The y is 53 there. So we do know that we have a little right angle. That's got a value of 90 degrees. So right in the middle, we know we have 90 degrees. If y is 53 degrees, tell me about x here. It's also 53, yeah, because they're vertical angles. They form that little X, and they're across from each other, so those are vertical angles. So X is also 53. And then how are we going to figure out Z? Subtract from 180. Yeah, again, we are now on the other side of that nice straight angle there. So we can do 180 from the straight line. We can subtract 53, and we can subtract 90. So 180 minus the 53 minus the 90 equals 37. So Z must be 37 degrees. All right, how do you feel about this? You feel okay? Okay. Will you tell me, just in this picture right at the top here, which angles are vertical angles? 5 and 3. Angle 5 and angle 3 are vertical angles. I think those are ones you really want to be able to identify, is identifying those vertical angles. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Whew.